Hello, and welcome to the Happy Digital Podcast pre-show. This is the part of the show where I go around and make sure all systems are go. Ow. And that we are up and running and ready to get things started. So let's see. No drop frames so far. Fantastic. Checking audio. Audio looks good. Twitch is up. Going over to the Facebooks. Going over to the Twitters. Let's see if we are up and running. Happy Father's Day, by the way, to all the awesome dads out there. Facebook and Twitter appear to be up and running. YouTube up and running also. Good. Starting a little bit early today. I'll get into why that is in a little bit. But for now, I feel like something is not open that should be open. But let's see. Okay, camera 2, camera 3. Awesome. Back here. Let's check our sound effects are working. Awesome. I think I'm still a little bit tired. I feel like I got eye boogers or something. I don't know. Sipping on some coffee. Okay. So, what am I missing? Am I missing anything? Got the lights on. Audio's up and running. That's good. Live stream. Okay. All right. I think we're about as ready as we're going to be for what we have to talk about today. So, I guess let's just go ahead and get this show on the road. Hello, and welcome to episode number 81 of the Creative Control Room podcast, a show for creators, makers, and doers. My goal is to help you make to the max. I'm your operator, Ryan Hafey, and in this episode, I'm going to give you my traveling content creators gear checklist of choice. So let's talk about it. Still no intro, so here's another random sound effect for you. And that one was called something like Science. What was it? I don't know. Science Fiction Alien Growl number 4 or something like that. And it is from the Adobe sound effect package that you can download for free. If I remember, I'll go back and put a link in the description of this one. It's in the description of a previous video, a previous episode. But yeah, if I remember, I'll put it in there. There's tons of different sound effects. Like lots, like a few gigs worth, and they're all free to use. So worth checking out. By the way, if you are new here to the podcast, again, my name is Ryan Hafey, and this is my creative control room. I am the operator of this creative control room, and this is where I try to share all the knowledge that I happen to know when it comes to anything content creation, whether that be video creation, photography, podcasting, live streaming, FPV drone flying, and just about everything in between. I also come here and talk about all the different projects that I happen to be working on at any given time. So if any of that sounds like it would be interesting to you, it would be fantastic if you would hit that subscribe button wherever you happen to be watching or listening. And follow me on social media at Ryan Hafey on Instagram and Twitter. And let's have a conversation after this is all said and done. A little sip of my coffee here. All right. So, first things first, in case you haven't already noticed, check this out. Got an unofficial Creative Control Room Podcast t-shirt here. No, it's not available for sale anywhere. Unfortunately, I don't have a merch store or anything like that. With 142 subscribers on your YouTube channel, there's not much of a need for that at this point. But, I had a Hafey Digital shirt, which if you are brand new to the podcast, the previous name for the show was the Hafey Digital Podcast. And I used to have I still do have a t-shirt that has the Hafey Digital logo on it. But since we rebranded, I thought it would be fitting to at least have a shirt that fits the new show. Here it is. I think it looks pretty cool. I don't know, maybe one day we'll launch some shirts when we get a little bit more interest. But for now, just thought I'd show it off because thought it came out pretty nice. So, happy Father's Day, by the way, to all the dads out there. Hope everyone is going to have a great and relaxing Sunday. I am getting this show going early because I've got some things to do today and some family festivities to attend. So we're gonna knock this out, but we're not gonna rush through it. We're gonna knock it out, but we're gonna give you some value. So awesome. So there we go. So the subject for today's video again is if you are a traveling content creator, or let's just say, you're about to embark on a trip where you will need to go and capture creative assets of, photos, video, whatever. This will be for you. This will be kind of like your checklist of what to bring to make sure you don't forget anything. Now, this is not going to be for people who are going on large productions or something like that. This is the run and gun shooter. You're going solo, you're going by yourself. You got to pack light, but you got to pack enough to be able to get what you need to get, right? So that's who this is for. And I've done a lot of these types of trips. Again, if you've been around for a little while, you know that I work in boxing by day, and a lot of that involves going to fighter training camps, going to fight weeks, and collecting assets, taking photos, collecting video, interview footage, all that kind of stuff. So I've done this quite a bit, and I've kind of gotten it down to what I need to bring depending on where I'm going. And I will be traveling this week. We've got a big pay-per-view fight coming up, Gervonta Davis versus Mario Barrios, and it's going to be in Atlanta. It's going to be on Showtime pay-per-view, and I will be traveling starting Wednesday to that fight in Atlanta. So I thought that it would be fitting to talk a little bit about not just what I'm bringing, but what I'm bringing, why I'm bringing it, and then also some other things that you may want to bring depending on what you are planning to do and where you're planning to go and what you're planning to capture. So let's get into it. But the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what are you going to be shooting? What are you going to be doing on this trip? Are you just, is it strictly photography? Are you getting a little bit of everything? Are you just doing video? Are you just doing sit-down interviews? What is it? In my case, again, I'm going to a fight week. So for me, it's going to be very photography heavy. We're going to be shooting fight week events like press conferences, weigh-ins, and obviously fight night from the ringside, and occasionally some B-roll and things like that. I probably won't be doing any sit-down interviews with any fighters while I'm there, but I may be capturing a little bit of B-roll and video of just what's going on and things like that. So I'm going to pack accordingly to that. But first, obviously, if you're going to capture any photography or video, let's talk about cameras first. What kind of camera are you bringing, or what kind of cameras? Are you bringing more than one? Typically, when I go on a fighter training camp visit, I will bring at least two cameras, and that's because typically we will do some kind of sit-down interview, and I will set up a two-camera setup. So I'll have my main camera, which is usually this guy here, my Sony a7 III, and then on my last trip, actually, I brought this camera right here, which is the Sony ZV-1. You can kind of see it in the corner here. But this is the Sony ZV-1. It's just basically a point and shoot in a way, kind of a souped up point and shoot. But it's got a flip out screen, can shoot up to 4K 30. It's a great little camera, and it doesn't overheat. So just as kind of like a B shooter, works really well. So think about how many cameras you're going to need. In my case, I'm just going to be bringing the one camera on this trip because, again, it's just me not doing any sit-down interviews, and this is just going to be kind of my main workhorse. So think about that, but then also you got to consider lenses. So again, going back to my fight week example, I will be shooting press conferences, weigh-ins, and fight night on the apron. Now, my go-to camera for fight night ringside photography is typically the 24 to 70 millimeter, and especially with the A7 III, which gives you the option to crop in a little bit and use it's like cropping into like a Super 35, I guess. So you can essentially extend your extend your focal range a little bit. So 24 to 70 could end up being a 24 up to I think it's like 105 or somewhere in that range once you use that feature to kind of crop in on the sensor a little bit. So that for ringside photography, that works great. Now, when it comes to press conferences and things like that, it's not always clear, especially with COVID protocols and everything. It's not always clear how far I'm going to be from the ring. So, from like the stage and things like that. So I will sometimes bring this is the 135 G Master from Sony, but I will also bring, again, for instances where either I'm very close up to the stage, or if they want to do like a big group photo of all the fighters up on the stage, I will bring the 16 to 35 so I can get a nice, crisp, wide shot of everything going on. So, point of that being, take some time to think about what types of shooting situations you're going to find yourself in, and then pack the lenses that would allow you to capture those things. But pack light, because again, we're packing what we need, and I admittedly am a just-in-case packer, so I typically overpack. But you want to pack what you need, but you don't want to pack too much because you're traveling solo, and at a certain point, too much gear can just get in the way. So think about lenses, think about your cameras, and obviously when it comes to cameras, different accessories from there. You have your batteries and chargers, SD cards, obviously things that you need to be able to operate your camera when you're on site. Are you doing any flash photography? Do you need to bring an on-camera flash? Something like one of these Yongnuo flashes. These things, by the way, if you don't have a flash and you're looking for one, these are pretty inexpensive. This one is the TTL version, the YN685. I want to say it was maybe close to $100. It's been a while since I got it, so I'm not perfectly sure. But long story short, if you need a flash, bring a flash. Camera strap. I have been in situations where I've forgotten to pack a camera strap, and that can become a pain, especially when you are trying to juggle a lot of things. And when you're a solo run and gun shooter, having free use of your hands whenever you need it is very important. But also it's important, if you're in an unfamiliar place, to be able to keep your camera with you at all times. I don't want to have to be putting my camera down in order to do something else and give someone the opportunity to potentially take my camera and walk away with it. So having a camera strap, just something that I can, keep the camera with me at all times, very important, but often overlooked. Also, ND filters. Are you going to be shooting outdoors? Do you need an ND filter or any kind of filter, really, for that matter, something that you can put on the front of your lens to kind of reduce the amount of light that's coming in to your lens? So think about all the different accessories you need for your camera. Next up, let's talk about audio. Now, again, going back to my Fight Week example, not going to be doing a ton of video. It's going to be definitely more photo-based, but in the instances where I am shooting video, I want to be able to capture at least some decent quality audio. So in my case, I'm going to bring what has become my favorite on-camera shotgun microphone, which is the Deity D4 Duo. And it looks like this. I've talked about this before, but the reason that I like this microphone so much is that it gives you the opportunity to record audio in front of and behind the microphone. So, there are mics like this, with like the Rode Video Mic Pro. Get off of there. There we go. There are microphones like this, which will arguably, dog hair everywhere, geez, which will arguably give you better audio quality. These are battery powered, and the quality that you get from these is typically going to be a little bit better. Those are great, but they don't shoot in both directions. And the reason, and the instances where that can be important is if, let's say, when you're working with fighters, for example, and you're asking questions, sometimes, especially if it's loud, you can't always hear the question that you're asking the fighter when you play it back, because you're behind the mic and the mic's not going to pick up audio coming from behind the mic. So you can turn this on to where it's recording both directions, so then you can actually hear what question you're asking. Or if you're doing any vlog style stuff where you want your audio and your commentary to be included in the clips that you're capturing, having a mic that can record in both directions could be super handy. So think about that. If you need a shotgun microphone, also, maybe you don't want to use a shotgun microphone. Maybe you want a lavalier microphone. There are lots of different lavalier mic options out there. My favorite is, which again is perfect for kind of the run and gun situation, is this Tascam DR10L. And that looks like this. And this is just basically a pocket recorder that attaches to a lavalier mic. And all you have to do is turn it on, essentially, pop this in your subject's back pocket, clip it on their shirt, and the battery on this will last a long time, and you can just kind of let this roll. It also gives you an option to record 2 different volumes of audio. So let's say if whoever you're filming happens to be super loud, or maybe there's some instances where it clips a little bit, the audio clips, this will give you a second recording with less gain that you can use to replace the clipped audio, which is really cool. So something like this versus, say, like a lavalier mic, like a wireless lavalier system, which unless you want to pay a lot of money, typically do not sound very good, or versus a wired setup which would require you to bring a separate audio recorder to plug into. This is a lot more hands-off, a lot more portable, and the audio quality really, in my experience, is not that bad. But speaking of audio recorders, it might make sense for you to bring an audio recorder. In the instance, let's say you want to capture some ambient noise or just some things that you can use for sound design later on. There are a bunch of great audio recorders out there. I have this little Tascam one that I'll bring sometimes, but also even your iPhone can be a good audio recorder if you have one. There's an app that I use on my iPhone called, what is it called? I think it's just called Voice Record. Let's see if I can show you here. It's that one there. It's called Voice Record. It just gives you some additional options when it comes to recording, what the quality of the recording and transfer options and things like that. So I think it's a paid app, but for me, it's been worth it. It's better, in my opinion, than the voice memo app that comes on the iPhone. And then headphones. Some people like to be monitoring their audio. If your camera, for example, has an audio headset jack, some people like to be able to monitor what's being recorded on the camera as they do it. So, I wouldn't necessarily, unless you prefer it, if you're trying to pack light, you could just bring a pair of iPhone, earbuds, wired earbuds. Or if you really want to, you could bring some like this if you have the room for them. This is obviously going to probably give you, it's going to sound a little bit better in your ears if you had something like this. But this is typically overkill in my experience for the run and gun style stuff. But if you need headphones, make sure you pack your headphones. Let's talk about lighting a little bit. So I will often, for this trip, I'm not going to be bringing any external lighting with the exception of this little guy, which is, this is an outdated version of it, but this is from Aperture. It's the ALM9 little video light. If I do, let's see, and this thing can get pretty bright too. Let's turn it all the way up. Not bad. But if I need it, I can bring this, I can pop it on top of my camera, or I can set it up somewhere to give at least a little bit of extra lighting. Let's say if I'm trying to interview a fighter and we're in a dark scene or something like that. So something really small and compact like this that you can pop on the top of your camera can be super handy. You start to get a little bogged down when you try to bring some of the bigger light panels and things like that. So try to avoid those if you can. If you can't, there are... It's not going to show. But I have a circular light panel back there that comes with a case that's maybe, about 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet. It's going to take up a lot of room, but you could bring something like that. Make sure you pack batteries for it if you're going to bring it, or a plug-in if it offers one. But also, if you're going to be bringing a light panel, then that means you're probably going to have to bring some kind of tripod or light stand that can hold it. They do actually make, and I forget the brand name, but I purchased some before. They do make travel light stands that literally fold up into about this long by about this big in diameter, and super tiny. You can fit them in most carry-on bags. So, excuse me. So if you have the option to do that versus trying to take a big sturdy light stand, that's one option for you if you're looking to keep your packing light. Let's see. So yeah, tripods, light stands, consider what you need in that realm. You know, if you're going to bring a tripod, do you need a big giant tripod that, you know, like a video tripod, or could you suffice with something smaller like this that you could pop up on a tabletop that just gives you a little bit more flexibility, also doubles as kind of a vlogging setup. GorillaPod would work as well. So if you can suffice with this, and if you think you could improvise with a tabletop or a chair, something that you could put this on, bring this instead of the tripod. You'll thank me later. Of course, you're going to need a laptop of some kind or some kind of computer, or at the very least, something that can help you offload your footage and your photos. So I admittedly don't use this very often, but this is a RAV Power. Actually, this thing does like a bunch of different stuff. This can be a Wi-Fi hub, and it can, what else can it do? There's a few things it can do, but really the only thing that I bought it for was file transfer. So you can plug in over here. Let me see. Hold on. Open this up there. So as you can see here, it's got a few different ports to choose from. You can plug in Ethernet to make this basically a portable router essentially. It's got a USB-C and a USB 3.0 on there, and you would just it's also got an SD port on the side here, SD card port. So if you don't have a laptop with you, you can plug in the SD card here on one side. You can plug your external hard drive on the other. And with a few presses of a button, you can instantly transfer any files from your SD card onto your hard drive, have them backed up, ready to go. And you don't have to worry about whether or not, you know, your card might malfunction or something. So constant backups of footage, especially if it's very important footage and photos, this is something you might want to look into. But of course, yeah, bring hard drives with you, storage, this being a file transfer device, laptop if you need it, but have those things with you. And then really, other than that, that kind of encompasses, you know, for the run and gun style shooter, that kind of encompasses everything you need to bring, but there are a lot of accessories that I would recommend. The first being, I bring one of these with me everywhere. This is just a little rocket blower. The one that I actually bring, which I ripped apart, but is this little guy. This one's just a little bit smaller, so it fits into my bag a little bit better, but works just as well, especially if you have a mirrorless camera. Reason being, you know, with a DSLR camera, when you open it up, you at least have a mirror that blocks the sensor. But in this case, your sensor is exposed, and it's very, very, very easy to get dust and other particles inside or onto your sensor, and those will show up in your photos and video, and when they do, it's a pain in the ass to get rid of them. So I would recommend a blower. I would recommend using it often with your mirrorless cameras. But even with DSLRs, it's a good idea to have one just in the event if you're in a dusty environment. Never hurts to blow out the sensor and get rid of any dust or particles in there. Also, lens wipes and microfiber cloths, something that you can wipe off your lenses with. I think it's Nikon. I mean, you can find a bunch of these out there, but Nikon makes these big packs of lens cleaning wipes, just like little wet wipes that you can rip open, wipe your lens down, and then just, little microfiber cloths like these that you can keep that, don't use your shirts and other fabrics to wipe off your lenses. You're going to damage your lenses. I mean, even excessive wiping of your lenses with things like these can damage them and scratch them over time. So obviously be gentle, but use something that's not going to damage your lenses. Don't be that guy that's just using his shirt and getting scratches all over his lenses. That's how you destroy it, especially if you have good lenses. Don't do that. A white balance card. I like to bring a white balance card with me everywhere. Not everyone will use these. And, for photography, if you're shooting in RAW, You don't typically need them. I mean, if you're going to be editing in post anyway, because you can always change the white balance later, but something like this, just a little gray card, this can help you get proper white balance. I would say it's definitely more important with video, just because unless you're shooting video raw. But if you're not shooting video raw, grab something like this, use it to set your custom white balance, and then you'll have less work to do when you're color grading in post. And I mean, they're so small. There's some that they have, I don't think I have it with me, but there's some that you can get that will fit in your wallet, that are the size of a credit card. Just get one. And again, thank me later. Power bank. I didn't take my power bank. Oh, no, I did. It's right here. So you may not necessarily need something this big, but this thing will power my laptop for an extended period of time. This thing will charge my phone a few times over. It's got a USB-C port on it. It's got 2 regular USB ports on it. And this thing's great. It holds a lot. This is a 26,800 milliamp hour portable charger, Type-C, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of these out there. This one's by RAV Power. I've got a few RAV Power devices, and they work really well. This one's been great for me. Just throw it in an extra pocket on my bag. If I'm on the plane or something, I can just pop a iPhone cable in my bag, leave this in there, and just kind of have it dangling out of my bag and get a free charge if you're on a flight that doesn't offer like the outlets or whatever, or just for whatever you need. Power your laptop, charge your phone, charge your camera, charge your batteries, etc. And they're not that expensive either, so definitely worth it. Batteries. Speaking of power, if you are using a shotgun microphone, again, like this Rode video mic, which takes a 9-volt battery, bring extra 9-volt batteries. I can't tell you how many times I've actually accidentally left this thing powered on, and then when I come back to use it, it's dead, and then I just don't have another battery to replace it with. It's also never a bad idea to pack additional AA batteries or AAA batteries for, sometimes you forget which accessories you use that use batteries. So for me, I will typically have batteries of some kind with me at all time, just in case. And then charging cables. Don't forget your cables. You can't charge things and you can't use certain things without the right cables. So that would include iPhone cables or charge cables for your phone, micro USB, which is compatible with a lot of devices. I can charge my camera with a micro USB. I could use the power bank with the micro USB, all sorts of things. And also USB-C cables, which, again, I can, my camera uses USB-C, but just look through your different gear, figure out which cables go with what, and just make sure that you pack everything, because the last thing you want to do is not be able to charge when you're on the road. I also recommend, this one is I think this is the Peak Design Field Pouch, something like this, or a fanny pack, or something that will allow you to, let's say, put your camera bag somewhere else when you're shooting, and then just have kind of your immediate accessories with you here. So you could put like a microfiber cloth in here, you could put extra batteries, you could put extra SD cards, some lens cleaning wipes, things like that. And this just connects right onto your belt. It's pretty low profile, but it helps so that you don't have to carry a bunch of stuff around, and you have the things that you immediately need with you at all times. So get one of these. And then my last accessory that I would recommend, which it's not really an accessory, but snacks. Bring some snacks. I can't tell you how many times I've gone on these shoots, especially ones where you're like, I don't know when I'm going to be able to eat lunch or eat dinner or whatever it is. And you get there and you're just super hungry. So pack a few maybe protein bars, something like that, whatever, just something that you can throw in your bag, some mixed nuts, whatever it might be. You'll thank me later. You'll thank me later. I keep saying that, but you will. You'll thank me later. Whoops. Sorry. And then the final thing I'm going to speak on after I clean up my mess here. Hold on. Is camera bags. So I've had a number of camera bags in my day. This is right now my favorite and the one that I use most often. This is the Peak Design travel backpack, I believe is the name that it was given. So this thing is great in that it can expand a lot, actually. So if you see this zipper down the side here, you can unzip that and that'll give you some extra room, essentially making this the size of a large carry-on. Or if you need to, you can, these buttons up here, they pop out to give you a little bit more room there as well. So really this can be used as just kind of an everyday carry, or if you want to just do pack your clothes in it as well, you can do that. This thing, you can buy packing cubes that come along with this. So whether you have clothes and you want to pack some clothes in these packs, or if you get one of the camera cubes that they have, so you can better organize your camera stuff. In fact, let's see if I can. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but like this. Oh yeah, you can see that. So this is like one of the camera cubes that comes in here. You can get different sizes. I think this was the large one. And then up top here, you could put one of the clothing packs, or the clothing cubes that they have. I have a couple of those as well. Those are very handy. They keep your clothes nice and tight and compact, and they have a separate compartment where you can put your dirty clothes once you've finished wearing them. But there's a lot of different options here. Obviously, you've got a laptop spot in the back here, and then in this front part here, there's plenty of different compartments for organizing your various accessories and whatnot. Okay, cool. But the point being is that you want to find a camera bag that is going to give you the flexibility to be able to pack super light or super heavy, depending on what you need to do. But also what I would say is get a bag, invest in a good bag. Get something that's going to last you. These Peak Design bags, I have the Peak Design everyday bag as well, which I haven't used for a while, but I had it for a while. I used it on trips. It's still a great bag. It's still, they make very good, very well-made, sturdy products, and I'm not paid to say that in any way. But, I'll pack this thing up to like 35 pounds and walk around with it. It's comfortable on my shoulders. It doesn't rip, or I haven't had any issues with the zippers, nothing. I've packed this thing full and had to really crank down on the zipper, and it works fine. There are other camera bags that I've bought off like Amazon. There was a ProMaster brand camera bag that I bought, and after a couple months, the zipper started breaking, fabric started ripping and stuff like that, and that's not a good time. And some of those bags are not cheap. Now, granted, the Peak Design bag is, I think this one was probably like around $200, $250, but it's lasted me for a few years at least. And it's still in fantastic shape, and I don't see myself replacing it anytime soon. So I say that again to just reiterate that you want to invest in a bag that's going to last you longer. Pay a little bit more if you can, and it's going to last you a long time. And that's it. So just to recap, first, make sure you think about how many cameras you need. Do you need one camera? Do you need a couple cameras? What kind of lenses do you need? Make sure you have all the accessories for your cameras, batteries, chargers, SD cards. Do you need a flash for photography? Do you need? You definitely want to bring a camera strap. Do you need any filters like an ND filter or polarized filter? Audio. Are you capturing any audio on your trip? What kind of audio are you going to capture? Do you need a shotgun microphone, or do you need like a lavalier style microphone? Maybe you need an audio recorder to record some ambient noise and things like that. Maybe you want to bring some headphones to be able to monitor audio as you're recording it. Think about those things in advance and add it to your list. Lighting. Are you going to be able to suffice with just a simple on-camera light, or do you want to maybe bring like a travel tripod or travel light stand and a separate light source that will allow you to light scenes, add more light to your scenes? Think about those things and pack accordingly. One thing I didn't mention earlier, stabilizer. Do you need like a gimbal or stabilizer for the shots you're taking, or is everything just going to be kind of handheld? Tripods, light stands, if you need those, pack those. Laptops, hard drives, storage, file transfer. Think about how you're going to be getting your files off of your cameras and how you're going to be storing them. If you need to be processing things on the go, obviously make sure you have a laptop that you can edit everything on. And then just accessories, those being a rocket blower, lens wipes, microfiber cloths, a white balance card, a power bank of some kind, extra batteries, AA, whatever, charging cables, a fanny pack or pouch of some kind, some snacks, and then put all this stuff in a nice high quality camera bag, and you will be on your way. But that packs up, pun unintended completely. But that wraps up the travel gear checklist for you here. Hope someone out there found that helpful. And if you did, it would be great if you could hit that subscribe button wherever you happen to be watching or listening, and follow me on social media at Ryan Hafey on Instagram and Twitter. And I think that's going to wrap it up for me. Once again, happy Father's Day to all the great dads out there. I'm going to go get ready and go enjoy some family time today. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. And we're going to go ahead and call this one done. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.